Good morning, traders. This is the Q-Man from Tatro Capital and Tickerville.com. Okay, S&P 500 going to gap higher today. The SPY is set to open right here around the 50-day moving average, around 130.60 or thereabouts. I got to tell you, this is going to be the battleground area. A lot of people are going to be looking for this as the retracement level after the decline in order to roll over and potentially either put in a double bottom or a new lower low. I think everything's possible, but what I wouldn't be surprised if the market moved slightly higher above the 50-day moving average to really suck in some longs and then ultimately decline. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I know that sounds slightly absurd because we've had such a strong bounce, and I think a lot of people have already shifted back to the bull side. But at this moment in time, I got to just follow what I see here, which is a pretty significant sell-off, light volume bounce. Again, I wouldn't surprise me at all to see a slightly higher than expected bounce here, really suck them in, and then ultimately lower prices from there. So I think you got to really pick your spots very carefully. Shorter time frame, smaller risk, I believe, still remains the key here. Take a look at the QQQ now. It's no longer the quad Qs. I guess it's now the triple Qs. Didn't it start as the triple Qs back in the day sometime? I think it did. All right, bottom line is this is still wedging up as well. Nice little bounce here, and it still has a pretty significant gap between the 50-day moving average and the wedge. If it does follow the SPY, it's got a pretty decent run to go, but that would assume that the SPY keeps going. So if the SPY rolls over, then look for this to roll over. This is definitely the weakest of the bunch, so keep an eye on the Qs. We'll talk about a trade that could potentially set up that effectively is like shorting the Qs. IWM, strongest of the group, punctured the 50-day yesterday, but only for a few minutes, and then came right back up. So this has now held the 50-day moving average for 3 trading sessions. As I've noted before, if the general market rolls over, I would look for this to get hit fairly hard. But at this point, it's the strongest of the group, so it's tough to anticipate a rollover. Let's talk about a few trades. I've got a smattering here of both longs and shorts, and the reason is we're gapping. We've had a pretty decent run. But at the end of the day, if we roll over from here, I want to be prepared for it. May not trigger at all. First and foremost, let's take a look at Apple. Apple has been the weakest in the tech group. I shouldn't say that. It's not been the weakest. There's obviously been other stocks that are weaker than Apple. But representing 20% of the Qs, it's obviously the most notable. Take a look here. It's sold off on high volume, breaking a multi-month trend, consolidating now under a declining or rolling over 50-day moving average. What I want to look for here is a day low break. Yesterday's low was 335.95. That's a pretty good hangman there on the daily chart. And if that were taken over, I would suspect that we would at least retest lows. So I'm setting an alert today at $335.95. That is where I would look to get short Apple stock. Let's just keep going in no particular order. A lot of natural gas stocks are very interesting to me here, as well as the natural gas sort of alternative energy space. Clean energy is one of the most sort of notable names. Now, there's a lot of negative and positive here. As you know, T. Boone Pickens been on his rampage about clean energy and so on and so forth. I've been watching the $14 level for almost a year now. It's been a huge pivot in early 2010. Ultimately, it broke beginning of 2011, but it's since recovered. This is the weekly chart. What I do not like here is that the 50 period is rolling over, so I want to see a recapture of that 50 period. Going into the daily, however, look at the battle that's going on right here between 1250 and 1450. This is a pretty significant battle. In my opinion, there's a lot of changing of the guard going on here with a lot of accumulation. I like clean energy. I think this is a longer-term pick. I think you can start adding shares here with a stop around that 1225 level. I know it's a long stop, but I think you could maybe add in 3 parts. You could buy some here. You could wait maybe for some weakness. Try to average in and get around the $13.50 to $13 level. That would be ideal. Ultimately, it's not, in my opinion, going to gather a lot of momentum until it breaks the 50 period on the weekly, so you have time. GMXR, this is an actual natural gas name. Now, there's a lot of things going on here that I like. First of all, let's take a look at the daily inverse head and shoulders. Those are supposed to be arrows, by the way. GMXR is notching an inverse head and shoulders on the daily. It also is trying to break the neckline on the daily. If you see that line right there, the top one, is very, very close to the 2009 low. So this is almost looking like a double bottom that broke the lows, shook everybody out, and now is trying to regather some strength. Also note that the breakout level is a 50-period weekly. If you're new to me or new to what I do, the 50-period weekly is a big level for me, if nothing else, just to observe how stocks trade around it or the indices, etc. So GMXR, in my opinion, is a buy. I'm looking for either a break of the 580 level on volume to get long, or some sort of retracement in this area here to buy the stock. We'll have a stop here right around 490, which is the right shoulder low. If it takes that level out, I don't want anything to do with it. HDY was on a tape talk from a few days ago, actually 2 days ago. I took the trade. I took it off the day of. That little hangman right there, that hammer right there, it didn't go. I didn't want anything to do with it, so I sold it. I re-entered yesterday. I re-entered slightly higher. Now, in my opinion, whenever I see a sell-off like this that creates a candle and then it overtakes it, that's a very, very strong stock. That's what I'm looking for. Slightly tighter leash to yesterday when I took this stock. I put a stop right at the 590 level, which would be a break of the March 22nd low. I like that trade, and I'm watching for HDY to move higher over time. Last but not least, if we do roll over, take a look at WYNN Resorts. This one has been kicking and screaming here at the 50 period. There's quite a battle going on. You can see sellers above, buyers below. One group is going to win out. One group is going to lose. I like Apple would be looking for a break of yesterday's low, so 116.50. And then, believe it or not, you got to have a stop way above here. So it's a pretty long leash, but it's a $100 stock. So you're looking not just for a few dollars. You'd be looking for a pretty significant crack. Also note that the trend line from September comes right into that area. So if it broke through that support level, it would be both a lateral trend line and an ascending trend break. All right, there's a smattering of both longs and shorts that I'm looking at today to trade either way. As I said, market's gapping here to the 50-day moving average. Be ready for a battle. It's the Q-Man signing off. Enjoy your day.